More movies, more music, more magic. Symbols of a new product era.
In the last video, we looked at an overview of the Hopper Joey capabilities. We also saw some of the key differences in the new system versus a VIP setup. Today we'll discuss some more technical details of this game-changing system. Hi, I'm Olivia, and thanks for joining us again. The Hopper Joey system has some different components and installation considerations that we'll need to discuss. The great news is that the system is flexible and easy to install.
In the most common type of installation, we would have one hopper for the main room and a Joey for the secondary TV. This installation would require a solo node. A node combines the satellite signal and MoCA signal into a single feed. This allows 3 tuners in the hopper to operate through a single coaxial cable. Remember from last time that MoCA technology is what allows all components in the whole home HD DVR system to communicate with each other. It operates in the 650 to 875 MHz range and allows simultaneous flow of data, audio, and video. The solo node requires 2 Dish Pro Plus or DPP satellite inputs and can support one hopper and one or more Joeys. A great feature of the node is that it can also be used as a ground block. Let's take a quick look at an example of this simple and common installation. The 1000.2 dish is mounted on the side of the customer's home. About 10 feet away from the dish, the node is attached, and the system is grounded to this node. When using the node as a ground block, remember that it must be no more than 20 feet away from the ground source. The 2 DPP satellite feeds from the dish are then connected to the node. The host output from the node is run a few feet to the penetration location, which is the room where the hopper will be located. The client output from the node is run a few feet in the other direction to where the bedroom is located, and the Joey will be installed. In this simple installation, let's say that the hopper is located in the same room as the customer's router. We could just plug an Ethernet cable from the router to the hopper, and this would provide broadband connectivity to the entire system. But what if the 2-room installation isn't this simple? Let's say that the hopper and Joey require 2 very long cable runs around the house to get to the penetration location. In this case, we have a solution. We can save time and money by running one cable and using a tap. A tap will allow us to run one single cable run around the house when long cable runs are required. It then acts in a similar way as the node. It separates the single host cable into a host line and a client line. And what if the customer has a 4th TV in a separate room? We would use a splitter from the client line. Then 2 separate cables could be run to add additional Joeys to the installation. A splitter can only be used on client lines and never on host lines. In this setup, let's say the router was located in a pre-wired room with one of the Joeys. For this, we'd use the Hopper Internet Connector, or HIC. We would connect the existing coax cable to the HIC. Then we'd connect to the Joey in this room with a coax cable using the HIC's pass-through. The rules for connectivity change slightly with the Hopper system installation. First, just like with other systems, is the direct Ethernet connection. Second choice would be the HIC, if existing cable can be used to connect. Third would be the Wi-Fi adapter, and the fourth option would be the HIC in locations that aren't pre-wired. And while we're on the new rules and considerations, you might have noticed some of the rules popping on and off the screen throughout the video so far. Now that we've got a basic understanding of the system, let's review all these rules in a little more detail. Nodes must be connected to a DPP LNBF or DPP switch because of band stacking and voltage that DPP supplies. DPP can push all satellite feeds down one single cable. Do not try to feed a node from a Dish Pro component such as a Dish Pro 34 switch or a Dish Pro LNBF. Do not install any non-whole home DVR components after the node. Other components such as VIP receivers will not be able to receive signal from the node. Only 2 components can be installed between any 2 whole home HD DVR receivers. Nodes and 75 ohm terminators do not account for this restriction. Adding more than 2 devices will negatively affect the system's performance. In this example, the hopper signal runs through the tap, which would be the first component. Then the signal travels through the node, which does not factor in. Then the signal passes through the splitter, which would be the second component, before reaching the Joey. There is a maximum of 200 feet of cable allowed from the furthest LNBF to the hopper. The maximum length between the hopper and the Joey is 200 feet as well. This means that the length of the cable between the node and the hopper, plus the length of the cable between the node and the Joey, must be less than 200 feet. In this example, the distance between the node and the hopper is 100 feet. The distance between the node and the Joey is 100 feet. This would satisfy the requirements of this rule. If the cable is any longer, the signal is degraded and the communication between units is slowed down. Host lines, the lines that run to the hopper, must be RG6 coax cable, and they must be rated to 3 GHz. However, the client lines, the lines used for the Joeys, can be either RG59 or RG6, as long as it's rated up to 1 GHz. This is useful when coming across pre-wired homes. Taps can only be installed on host lines. When using 2 taps, the entire system must use RG6 cable. To prevent RF leakage and interference, all unused client ports in the system must be capped with 75 ohm terminators. When using a power inserter, it must be installed before the node. Connect ports 2 through 4 on the switch to the node, and then connect port 1 to the power inserter. Do not attempt to feed power through the node using a power inserter. Since Joey units are dependent on the hopper for programming, always install, download, and activate the hopper before plugging in any of the Joeys to electrical outlets. Now that we've stopped to go over the rules, we can discuss some more complicated installations that you might encounter. Remember to keep the standard professional installation rules in mind as well. If you have questions about the hopper system installation rules, reference them in the job aid. Some appointments will call for 2 hoppers to be installed. In this case, we'd use the Duo node because the Duo node has 2 host outputs. The Duo node requires 3 DishPro Plus feeds, which would give us 6 tuners. So let's say that the customer ordered 2 hoppers and 4 Joeys. Then we'd run 2 cables from the host outputs, 1 for each hopper. The 2 client lines in the middle of the Duo node would run to the Joeys. But we have 4 Joeys, so what do we need to do here? Recall that the splitter can be used to split client lines. So we'd use 2 splitters here, 1 for each client line. Then we'd run 2 client lines from each splitter, giving us 4 total client lines for 4 Joeys. Remember that with MoCA technology, all connected components can communicate with each other. When we have 2 hoppers, both hoppers and each Joey will be able to access DVR recordings from either hopper. If any of the client ports in the installation are left open, we risk RF leakage and leave the system more open to outside RF interference. To remedy this situation, we'd use another new component, the 75 ohm terminator. Any open client port downstream of the node must be capped with one of these terminators. There are advantages, as we've discussed, to having a hopper Joey system over a VIP installation, but in some situations, the customer may feel as though changing to the whole home HD DVR system would reduce their viewing options. In a current 4-room VIP installation, the customer would likely have a 722 and a 222. This would allow them 4 independent tuners. So if we offer to upgrade the customer to the hopper Joey system with 1 hopper and 3 Joeys, they may be upset that they're losing a tuner. But with the hopper Joey system, the customer would be gaining a lot. Actually, now all 4 rooms will be in HD, and all 4 rooms will have DVR. The customer will be able to record the 4 major networks during prime time hours, and an additional 2 programs on the remaining Open 2 tuners. So the customer isn't losing a tuner, they're gaining HD quality, DVR function, and prime time anytime access in all rooms. Additionally, when a customer with a 4-room VIP setup wants to get the hopper Joey system, they do have the option to get 2 hoppers and 2 Joeys to maximize their viewing experience. Here's what we've covered in this video. Standard professional installation rules always apply, but Hopper Joey installations have a few additional considerations. We must follow them to ensure the system works properly. The node manages communication between host and client devices, requires Dish Pro Plus satellite inputs. Nodes can also be used to ground the system. The tap makes it possible to use a single cable to feed multiple devices. It does this by separating a single host cable into a client line and a host line. Splitters can be used to feed multiple devices off a single client line. And when any client ports are left unused in the Hopper Joey system, they must be capped with a 75 ohm terminator.
There will be other situations that you'll encounter and other considerations to make when installing the system. But we think these common examples will give you a solid foundation for understanding whole home HD DVR and help you understand how the system works. Next time, we'll get a closer look at what our customers experience when navigating the system. Thanks for joining us.